Good morning, class. Before we'll start our discussion or our classes, we will have our prayer first. So, who wants to volunteer to lead a prayer? Okay, go ahead, Miss Giselle. Okay, let's put ourselves to the presence of our Almighty God. So, we'll say, Amen. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Miss Giselle. And now, before you take your seat, you will have to pick up a piece of paper in some under your chairs, and make sure that all your chairs are properly aligned. Okay, and now take your seat, everyone. Okay, so we will continue our discussion, which is our lesson 3, which occupational health and safety procedures. We will include the hazard identification, risk assessment, and risk control. So this is the preparations in order for our next topic, which is the assemble and disassemble computer. And but before we proceed, we will have first our review. What was our everyone? What was our discussion last meeting? Okay, go ahead, Miss Imbo. Yes, it is all about the different components of computer system. So you already know about the different components and functions of computer system. So who can give me the at least one example of components of a computer system? Anyone? Okay, Miss Kaliura. It is a motherboard. So we all know that the motherboard is the main circuit of the computer computer. So it contains all the circuit and the functions that will run to the computer. Next, another one. Who can give another components? Okay, very good. CPU or Central Processing Unit. It is the heart or the brain of the computer. Okay, may I ask, what are the two types of memory? In one? Okay, very good. It is the RAM and ROM, which is, what is the abbreviations of RAM? Very good. Random access memory. The ROM? Okay, read-only memory. What is the differences between two? Okay, the differences, very good. The differences is the RAM is can hold data only when the power is off and on, but the ROM is can hold data even the computer is off or on. Sige. Okay, we will proceed to our introductions of our discussion. But first, we will have to define the occupational health and safety, or OHS. Identify computer hazard and risk. Assess health and safety when working with computers. Appreciate health and safety measures with working. So I have some pictures that I will show you, and you would think what is the possible situation happen based on in this picture. First is so what can you say about this picture, class? Okay. It is the wires scattered running across the floor. So what would you think would the possible situation happen? It may cause slippery or can cause fall the people when they are walking. Next picture. This is the cable routing. So what is the possible happen in this situation? Through connection, it may cause damage or else. What else? Okay, not functioning the computer. Very good, class. The next is this overloaded circuit. So as you can see, there are it may cause electric shock. As you can see. Okay. Now we will proceed to our formal discussion. But first is we will have to define the Occupational Health and Safety, or OHS. So it is planned system of working to prevent illness and injury when you are working by recognizing and identifying hazard and risk. So the health and safety procedures, it is important to identify that and assess the risk or our safety. We have to secure to avoid accident when we are working at place. So, but by that we have the 3 steps to manage health and safety at work. So the first is spot the hazard or hazard identification. How would you identify the hazard? By that, as you can see, there are, for example, in the workplace, a hazard workplace is frayed electrical cords. By that, it may cause what? Class? Anyone? Okay, very good. It may cause electrical shock. The next example is the what we call the boxes. Boxes stuck precariously. It may cause or it may lead fall to someone. So it will put danger the people walk away. Then the next example is the other one. Who can give me another example of spot the hazard? To spot the hazard in a workplace. Anyone from the class? Okay. It is the what? It is the noise machinery. By that, it will cause, it will lead or it will damage your hearing because of the noise from the machine. So you have to consider that as an hazard. So the second is assess the risk. So what are the possible how you are going to assess the risk or risk assessment? By that, you would it is important first when you are working at this. It is important that you have to ask yourself first with the 2 questions. With the 2 questions. And what does? Okay, very good. It is the how likely is that will harm to someone or at me or to someone else. And the second is how badly could I or someone else be harmed. So those are the important 2 questions when you are assess the risk. If you are if you don't know or you don't know in the safety precautions of that, you will ask from your supervisor or ask someone to help you in order to assess the risk. By that, we'll proceed to make the change. So it is responsible to your employers to assess how to take the rest, to take to keep the hazard. So by that, but you can also fix the but as an individual, you can also fix the hazard, simple hazard. For example, you would say water put in the table near the computer, and you will know that it may cause damage to the computer. So you are going to keep the bottle with water and put into the trash can. Or you can say there are someone eating inside the computer laboratory. You can also fix that because it is also considered as a hazard. So you would tell to him or her that it is not it is important to keep away from the computers when you are eating. So the next is we have to discuss the common hazard encountered by computer technicians and users. So the first is the physical hazard. So the physical hazard, it is commonly happen in the workplace, and this is the cables running across the floor. So these are the examples of physical hazard. Leaving tools on the top of the ladder and placing electronic equipment in precarious position. So this, it may cause a damage or accident to the computer technicians or the users. The second is mechanical hazard. So mechanical hazard is also an hazardous happened in the workplace. So when working on electronic equipment, ask yourself, is there any way this equipment could hurt me? So you should be careful of any equipment inside the workplace area. When working on electronic equipment, always be alert to any possible of being hurt by moving parts, hot components, and sharp edges. Mostly, there are any equipment that the edge are sharp, so you should be careful when it comes with dealing with that. So the next is chemical hazard. Any of the computer laboratory or any internet shop, they are using any chemicals, like for keyboard, cleaning the keyboard, cleaning the what? Cleaning their cleaning their monitors, and also there are a lot of chemicals that will cause damage or accident. For example, it will unexpected swallowed or put in their eyes, and also put in their skin that will make burn their skin. So the next is electric shock hazard. So inside the computer and the electronic equipment, there is a range of voltage from 3.3 volts most, which are the harmless. So for the short voltage, not short voltage, for the minimum voltage is for not too much high voltage will not we can say that it is safe. But when we have a 220 volts, I will say that it is not safe for everyone. So we should have to be careful, and we need to help from the expert of that situation. The next is we will done with the common hazards encountered by computer technicians and users. Next, we will proceed to the workplace workplace should have the safety guidelines to follow. So this is the very important guidelines that we have to know. First is protect the people from injury. Of course, anyone could not allow that someone are harmed or make an injury. Next is protect equipment from damage. Of course, we should have to be careful with our equipment's uses. Next, protect the environment from the contamination. Yes, of course, we should have to protect our environment. We should make sure that our what we are doing is will not affect our environment or would not destroy our environment. So here are the 15. We have a 15 safety precautions when working. The first is always ground and discharge yourself before touching any parts of the computer. So this part is the preparation when we are disassemble or assemble the computer. Make sure that you have to ground ourselves before we touch anything from the computer components, computer system, mostly computer system. Do not work alone so that there is someone who can take care of you in case the accident or emergency. Yes, it is required to what? To work with anyone or someone, at least even one, because there are a lot of accident now. If an unexpected accident, there are someone who would help you. The next is be careful with the tools that may cause short circuit. Yes, it is important to know that. Always pull the cable connector to the handle and not hold on the cable itself. For example, you are holding a charger. Don't hold to the wires, but you are holding into the head of the charger, because by that it may cause damage to your charger or any kinds of cable or connectors. Next, use only rubber shoes where in standing on the ground or in the concrete floor. So it is required when you are working, especially with have an electricity. We should have to wear shoes or rubber shoes, because by that it will helpful for you to be safe in the workplace area. Next, make sure that pins are properly aligned when connecting to a cable connectors. For example, here. So when you are putting the cords, you would make sure that the connectors are properly all the pins are properly aligned with that. Because of that, it will cause damage to your appliances or the equipment. Next is always power off and unplug the computer before working on it. Yes, it is important to power off or unplug, especially when you are leaving the computer. You should have to power off or unplug everything to avoid accident. The next is take away any liquid such as mineral or soft drinks near your working area near the computer. Yes, it is important. It is not allowed any liquid or foods in during eating or drinking during the work inside the workplace area. Do you get me, class? Okay, very good. Next, contingency measures during workplace accident, fire, and other emergency is recognized. Yes, it is important to recognize everything. The next is So this. The number 10 is personal protective equipment is correctly used and in accordance with the organization's procedures and practices. Yes, it is properly used. The number 11 is hazard or rest in the workplace and their corresponding indicators are identified to minimize and eliminate risk to co-workers, workplace, and the environment. Thus, number 12 is take necessary precaution to protect the component of the computers from the damage caused by electrostatic discharge. It hold the components by edge, not touch the IC means, for example, for the memory, you can hold, don't hold the center, but the properly way is hold the edge of the memory. Read and follow instructions on the manual carefully before you are working on it. You should be read and understand the manual of the regarding about the workplace, or that for example you are dealing with disassemble and assemble computers. You should first to read the manuals of disassemble and assemble before you are working on it. And last is do not use excessive force if things do not quite slip into place. This is the one of the very important that we have to remind. And that's it, the end of our lesson, and I hope everyone will understand. So may I ask everyone, do you have any question from our report, from our discussions rather? Anyone? Okay, none. So we will have an evaluations or a short we will have an activity in order to determine that you are listening to me. Okay, first, this is our first activity. So your task 1, true or false. So okay, everyone keep one half sheet of papers now, and we will answer this from 1 to 5. Read carefully each statement below. Write T if the statement is true and write F if the statement is false. You know already that, class? Okay, very good. Now, you will start to answer that. After you are answering this task, you would answer also this. Identify what hazard is being illustrated in the situation below. Write your answer in the space provided. Do you get me, class? Okay, very good. You know what are the hazard that we are discussed? You would choose to between this, the physical hazard, mechanical hazard, chemical hazard, and the electric shock hazard. So these are the fours that you would to identify. For example, slippery computer laboratory floor. So what hazards they are belong? Number 2, hot components or sharp edges of computers devices. What hazards is there belongs? So you would answer this 1 to 5 also. After that, we will have to check your answers. Okay, you will answer at 5 minutes. Okay, start your answer now. Okay, class. Are you done for your for your answering? Okay, you're done. We will have to check this. True or false? From 1, who wants to answer number 1? Kindly read first before you answer. Before you give an answer. So, health and safety procedures is the responsibility of all persons in the computer and technology industry. It is true or false? Very good. It is true. Spotting the hazards means working out how likely it is that a hazard will harm. So, true or false? Okay, very good. If you need a temporarily run a cable across the floor, place a danger sign, similar to those with floor sign used by cleaning devices. It is true or false, class? Yes, very good. It is true. Number 4. An LCD monitor has the high voltage anode inside it, which can carry a charge up to 2000 volt, 25,000 volts, and it can still be holding a high charge days after the power is removed. It is true or false? Okay, very good. False. Mechanical hazard factors include just about anything inorganic that moves or can injure you. It is true or false? Okay, very good. False. Now we will proceed to check the task 2. What does it? Who wants to volunteer to answer? Okay, very good. We are done to answer these activities. So, who once got perfect answers? Anyone? Okay, you only have, so far you are mostly are got a perfect score. Now, I know that you have already you have a lot of you would understand our discussion. So, for the next meeting, please study class because we will have our oral recitation so that I will know who are the students are listening at me while I'm discussing, and I will determine whose students not listening. By oral recitation, I will grade you your performance. Now, I will put it on your performance. Your participations also. Okay. Are you done, class, to check your answers? Is anything's problem there? Okay, now. So, we will end this meeting. So, goodbye, class, and thank you.